there's one player I had to look at this lineup. I mean, we do have Sora in the 4th place. He hasn't really looked good, but he hasn't come out recently either. But he's going to be in the 4th match. We'll see if it even gets there first. But anyways, we're going to introduce the players. Here's Hack. He's 0-1 so far, only playing 1 game. That is a loss.
His loss, though, is unfortunate. You know, he lost to a lot of... he lost a lot of his momentum to early pressure. He didn't deal with that very well, and it was, of course, almost impossible for him to transition into the mid-game. So it's really hard to judge him off of that game alone, and otherwise we haven't been able to see him at all in any other tournaments. Here's Hydra, 7-10. A lot of those losses from the early parts of the season. He did make a big rise, but if you look at the bottom where you see his recent 5 games, he's 2-3. So even though he was getting better and better, he seems to kind of plateaued back out a little bit. We'll see how well he does today. It looks like the coaches put him out here for a reason in the first set, so I expect him to do well here.
He looks pretty good. I think he got a haircut, actually. He looks pretty fashionable in there in the booth.
Well, it's time. Game number 1, Hack versus Hydra on Overgrowth.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Up here in the top right on Overgrowth in the blue for Incredible Miracle, it's Hack.
And down here, the bottom left, in the yellow, CJ Entis, it's Hydra, more commonly known as Hydra here in Korea.
Hydra.
Yes.
That was pretty good, actually.
That was very well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do want to point out that Hack's ID actually means nuke, like as in a nuclear missile. We talked about this last time he played, but just wanted to clarify that again. Don't forget, by the way, also to spread the word, guys, we have Telecom Wars tonight. It's going to be the next match, SKT versus KT Rolster, so it's going to be a fun one to watch. So definitely, think of this match as like an appetizer for that, not to knock these two teams, but they're not a rivalry.
The warm-up act here, like, it's going to get a lot crazier. I mean, the lineup for the next match is going to be insane, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. Shout-outs to Minnesota, USA. Hashtag Barack Obama. Thanks, Obama. Korean commentators also picking up on that.
Yeah. And we see a very early drone scout.
Kanada's like, well, I voted for the Green Party. I'm like, well, Kanada.
Well,
of course you would, man.
Well, a bit of...
This is actually kind of annoying, right?
Drone harass here.
Oh. It's really close, just 2 hits off.
You can't lose that SCV. You just can't.
You just can't.
You just can't.
No, you can't. It's not acceptable.
It's actually not okay. And the drone's going to try and get out of here before any supply depot goes down, which is smart. He's going to keep harassing a little bit. And
all right, he's overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get too crazy here. It's going to be a Reaper opening for Hack.
Yeah. And gas before pool, hatch first for Hydra.
Yeah.
Finland hearts StarCraft. Will StarCraft hearts Finland as well?
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. I like the flag made into the sign there.
Yeah. You mean the sign made into a flag?
Yeah. No, they folded the Finland flag into a sign. Yeah, they drew on it. That's what happened.
So Reaper is going to pop out here. He wants to know how much gas has been mined and if gas is being mined at all, which is pretty common, obviously, in the current meta with how things have changed in Heart of the Swarm. But I'm going to drop that command center down. See if he makes 2 Reapers. I think he will.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Yeah. Second Reaper coming. And, you know,
it gets canceled.
Gets canceled. Ooh.
Just so you can make a faster depot.
Yeah.
Yes. Good idea to make that second depot.
Yeah, because that command center is not going to finish quickly enough. But that actually, that funny little hiccup in the build shows like a little bit of maybe nervousness in Hack.
Yeah.
A weird hiccup there.
But I mean, only a very small mistake, so nothing too bad just yet. He can regain his composure still.
Sure.
Has scattered the gas.
So I want to note once again, I'm watching the first-person view. If you guys are here in the studio, make sure you at least do that once. And go ahead and watch the first-person view. I came in and saw the Reaper go into the main base, and he clicked the gas, saw exactly how much gas was mined. So,
yep, very, very important to know.
Yeah,
need to know the timing so you Reapers can pull back in time and not get caught by speedlings.
Yeah. One day, man, we're gonna have 2 the first-person view monitors like in the center of the desk we can look at it any time.
Well, you know, instead of like their player cams up on the screen, it'd be cool to have first-person views, to be honest. That's just my opinion. And we could have like, well, you don't need like player cams. In my opinion.
I think the player cam is cool.
It's cool, but I mean, first-person view is.
I would rather the player
so
cam be put up from time to time over the first-person view if it's like a shocking moment or something.
Yeah,
because
that'd be a bit tricky for.
We already have like the cameras up in the middle of the screen here, as you guys can see, the same way. But I'm fine with what we have. Would like more player cam.
Oh, got to be careful there. Speed just about to come online too, so he's got to be very careful. Got to get this out of here now.
I don't think he's getting away with that.
Oh man,
so close.
They're closing in. He's gonna try to micro up the ledge, but very nicely done by Hydra. Sends some Zerglings up there on top.
Yeah,
and he does kill that Reaper.
Only one Reaper there. One remains.
Yep. We'll be able to harass a little bit later with the Hellions if he decides to join. We'll see what the Starport has in store. Tech Lab coming down right now. Not clear yet whether he'll be going Banshees. I think unlikely actually against the build he's chosen to go Banshees. And Lair is started. 5 more drones, sending his Overlords around the map just to make sure he's got full coverage of anything that could come his way. And he's got that Overlord poised towards the main base to try to scout and check if it's going to be Hellbats. And oh, look at that.
It's not going to be Banshee, so there's some Hellion Banshee pressure. Going to try and harass that third a lot, try and get some drones, really slow down the economy and the drone production. And it's going to be really up to Hydra how many queens he has extra and how many Zerglings he's going to actually make for this. So we've got 2 creep queens so far, 3 coming to the third base. Pressure him.
Yeah, Hellbat follow-up is going to be pretty scary.
Oh, absolutely.
I was a little bit surprised he decided to go Banshees, considering he lost that Reaper first of all, and he didn't really rush the Hellions out here.
Yeah, and I mean,
he might actually just make only 1 or something. I think that's
well,
like
actually, like looking at like the tech of Hydra, he hasn't made any Roach Warren, he hasn't made any Baneliness. He's going straight for the Spire, so he's trying to get Mutas out as fast as possible. So timing with Banshee and Hellbats could do a lot of damage. And I mean, this Reaper scouts everything.
Oh wow. Good scout there. Doesn't get the drone.
Where is that Spire actually? Is that wasn't in the main base?
This could actually kill a third base, by the way. This could actually do a lot of damage.
Where is the Spire though? This is a really important
Spire. I think it's in the natural somewhere, but I mean, it's just not important. It's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not worried about it at this moment in time. Here we go.
This is going to kill a lot because there's only Zerglings.
No Roaches whatsoever.
No Banelings. You need to have one or the other to deal with Hellbats.
Yep, well, he's got a few queens here to help deal with that Banshee, but the Banshee will help damage down that Spine Crawler.
Oh,
look
boy.
at that damage.
I mean, he's got a lot of links here, but it just doesn't matter. He needs, like, more than a lot. He needs a lot more than that. The Queen's actually doing a hefty amount of damage.
Well. I mean, if there was a second Banshee here, the damage would be so much greater. I feel like that might be the one mistake he made.
Well, Raven's going to come out. That could help out a lot.
Yeah, but I think he might have missed his timing here, and these Mutas are going to come out very soon.
And he's going to need Thors. He's already getting turrets because he knows what's up. Probably pop 2 Thors out, actually, with those facts on Tech Labs.
Yeah.
On
Tech
Siege
Labs
mode makers.
Turret's coming out in good time there, so he should be pretty safe against these Muta harassment.
Nice scout by Hydra. Gets an Overseer in the main base. Sees everything. Sees the factories going on the Tech Lab, so he knows it's Mech on the way. And, of course, Hack knows about the Mutas on the way, so he's making that Thor and a bunch of those turrets.
It's actually like kind of like a very kind of greedy build by Hydra to a point where he's kind of skipped Baneliness, skip Roach Warren, going straight for Mutas, makes the scout, identifies its mech, and just goes back into Roach Warren. And it's actually a really comfortable position to be in, and he can take a very comfortable 4th base with this.
Yeah.
And he's going to be great in the mid to late game.
Nice. I think that was the Banshee just got picked off there too. So that's just a small victory there. This turret is actually pretty cool. This over here in the middle, it's going to help it. As the Melists are trying to fly around and pick things off, it's going to help protect a little bit. But the Lynx can go and finish that off. But still a cool idea. I'm kind of a fan of it.
Yeah, it's actually definitely kind of zones him out a little bit further. Gives him a bit more time to kind of get the mech he needs out to deal with the Mutas.
I like that he's not trying to get too greedy with flying his 3rd command center over yet either. He's very well aware that this is a very dangerous time for him, and he doesn't want to try to move his small mech out to get it.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the common, like, really big dangers early on and in the mid-game is when you see a Mutatech like that, there can be a very strong Roach follow-up. And if you've been forced to make Thors this whole time, like, Thors aren't that great against Roaches, especially in small numbers. So he's got to have at least enough tech out, or he's going to have like, a really good position to deal with them.
Right. Now the Thor count is, I think, at 5 with that last one that's about to pop coming out, I believe. And that'll be enough Thors to deal with a small number of roaches, because Thors do a lot of damage. He has to target them, though. They can't be firing at Zerglings. And obviously the Mulas could become a problem, too. I mean, you can't fight roaches and Mulas at the same time with your Thors. So...
That's right, especially if the Mutalisks are triggering the Thors like anti-air, then they're just not doing any damage at all to the Roaches, and the Roaches can kind of have a lot of free reign until the Mutas are dead, which can take a long time, especially if the Mutas are spread out.
Yeah, if they get magic boxed, that can be a problem as well. Really fast Hive here for Hydra as well.
I like this.
He's done a really good job of identifying exactly what Hack is going for. Knows he's going to be defensive for so long. He's gone all the way up to 80 drones really, really fast. He's taken that fourth, getting all the tech he needs. Even a Baneling Nest at this moment.
And the creep spread is
quite
15 amazing.
Tumors at a time.
Yeah, this is looking great. He's in complete control. Exactly how Zerg kind of has to take it against mech. Once it's identified early enough, you have to really control the map. Get the creep out as far as you can. Get that fast fourth base. And kind of really be ready for the late game and that mech bowl that's going to be eventually coming. And we're going to see fast Vipers by the looks of things.
What do you think about this Baneling Nest?
Interesting. I'm not exactly sure how he's going to use it. I mean...
You think he might try to just do like Baneling drops on mineral lines or something? He doesn't have drop though.
I mean, Banelings can work against like big clusters of even mech. Like essentially, Banelings can work against anything as long as they're clumped up. And I mean, it's going to depend how many siege tanks there are and if they're sieged up in time. I mean, Banelings could do nothing at this point. But
well, there aren't many siege tanks from what I see.
Yeah,
I mean, even with this big ball, we see a lot of Thors and Hellions and a bunch of air units, but...
Yeah, 2 siege tanks I think that are popping out right now are going to be the first 2. And I mean, Banelings, like you said, they can pretty much do well against anything that's clumped up, but that's at the stage of the game where he's like massively ahead in bank where he could just keep doing that. He's definitely not there yet. Could just be a precaution for later.
And I mean,
the way also okay against Hellbats actually.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, very good against Hellbats. It feels like kind of the way that Hack is playing. He's really gearing for the late game. Very much gearing to split the map in half and get to that late stage where the mech ball is just so cost efficient. And we see eventually like a Raven, like a mass Raven, kind of like very effectively trading. But it's a long way off that stage yet, and he is playing very defensive, getting that fourth base at the gold. But he's going to have to hold it, which is going to be the hard part.
Yeah, that's definitely the hard part. I'm actually a bit surprised he takes the gold base rather than taking the safer top left. The Mutalisks are actually going to do combat now with some Vikings over here. There's not quite enough of them to actually fight those Vikings. But here comes some Vipers now with the mix here. Let's see how he decides to use the Banelings here. Oh, he's got to be careful. There's a good yank on that Thor. Second Thor gets pulled as well. And there's the third one. Banelings over here not really accomplishing a whole lot yet, but the Roaches and Hydras certainly are. And here come the Banelings connecting with those Hellbats. That's so nice for him here.
Those tanks in the back, they have nothing in the front now. They're all going to go down here. Hydra's got a ton of these reinforcements coming across the map as well. The Vikings try to land, but they're fighting against Roaches right now. The Planetary definitely will help here, but he has lost a gigantic chunk of his army right now.
Yeah, that was great trade there. Getting rid of every Thor and getting rid of every tank near that fourth base. And he can just remax from here and push again, essentially.
I think it was almost a feeling of Hydra being like, all right, your Vikings over here chasing my Mutas. Now your Vikings are not protecting your units against my Vipers. I'm going for it. And, you know, he just was able to grab all 3 of those Thors, and that's essential in this type of fight because the Thors have so much range, actually. It's not quite the range of a siege tank, but it's pretty far. So if they're at the back, they're doing all that extra damage before the Roaches can close the distance, plus just a few siege tanks for support. It's a little bit more tough, but he knew that there were no Vikings nearby because they were chasing his Mutas.
And look at this. He's really hopping this map off, and I like it a lot. He's definitely gearing for the late game, kind of trying to weather the storm until like he can really get his mech up in line, up in a like 200 sort of state, 200 pop. And I mean, look at that creep spread, like right to the doorstep, right to the natural. So he's got a lot of work to do.
That is about as good as you can get at this point. It's even covering the spots that aren't near the Terran, like over there on the right side as well. He's got everything covered. It's really actually pretty impressive.
Now, Bank may become a concern eventually as he starts to mine out because a lot more of the map is controlled right now by Hydra. He's going to go ahead and throw these Mutalisks away here so he can actually remax a better supply. I don't know if I agree with attacking in this planetary, but you know what? There's actually not that many siege tanks here as it turns out, and the ones that are here are getting yanked and wiped.
Yeah,
this actually could be enough maybe.
This is a really good trade. Really good trade. Viking kind of really out of position, and they're going to fall back. So not the most cost-efficient trade for Hydra here. Like, he's got to be careful with his bank especially because he is going to run out pretty quickly, getting all these bases very, very early on. And the Terran is kind of just trying to weather the storm still. Like, as long as he defends and he gets to like 3-3 and he gets the army composition he needs to fight this kind of army, which is obviously going to be a lot of tanks, enough Vikings to deal with the Vipers, and some Thors to kind of tank as well with Hellbats. So if he can keep holding on here, get to max, I mean, he's already kind of ahead in supply until Hydra decides to spend his bank. 5th base going down. So, you know, Hack is in a pretty good position so long as he doesn't, like, get broken at either side of his
yeah,
kind
he's
of
playing
wall
this
off.
like reality, you know, would play this matchup, and he's just going to sit there and let, you know, the Zerg just crash into his setup defenses over and over again until eventually he's like, oh, you're out of money, Zerg. I guess I'm going to move out and kill you now.
Yep. That reality versus Sulky game, of course, coming to mind. The regame that we had. These Vipers on Miss Rally is going to save it. Almost does go down.
Yeah, one more shot would have done it.
And we do see Ravens in production now, finally. So he's getting to that stage where he's going to get that big ball of Ravens to kind of just trade very efficiently, trade energy for a lot of units, which is the most fun part, I think, for the Terran. Yep. Very frustrating kind of style to play against this style. Very, like, passive mech Terran. It kind of just waits for that death ball.
This is a lot of Swarm Hosts. Doesn't have a lot of Ravens yet, so this is a scary time. I think this is like his 3rd or 4th Raven maybe that he's getting out here.
So long as he has like enough tanks, he can deal with this, and he's making 3 tanks at a time. So like, once you get like the certain amount of tanks, you can just kill all the locusts before they really do anything. And it's pretty much at that point.
Yeah, it looks like it is, but all of his tanks have to stay here, which might weaken a flank or another location for
like,
attack.
The one scary thing there is like, Blinding Cloud could do a lot of damage. Those tanks are really clumped up. So he's going to really have Vikings in position for it.
Yeah, he really does. That's been an issue for him this whole game, is his Vikings not been ready for those Swarm Hosts. A lot of turrets going up here to help out against Vipers, also against anything that flies, but I think it's also just kind of there to tank the Swarm Host shots so that he could actually kill them with the siege tanks.
What does he got for defense over here? It looks like just a bunch of Banshees. I like Hydra's idea, you know, try to pick apart this Terran that's just being so passive and so immobile with the tanks, but still, those just 4 Banshees in the air are going to do work against a bunch of Roaches that try to harass your 5th base.
Yep.
So Hydra's got to figure out something else here, I think.
Yeah, he's really going to have to figure out the tech switches. He's going to have to figure out the exact kind of composition we got. And here's some Blinding Clouds which could do some work.
Yeah, good grab there as well, but that siege tank is really having some trouble getting through the turrets. Finally gets over here now around, but it's not really worth it. He killed a lot of the structures.
It's still very cost inefficient. I mean, he lost his Vipers for that. And look at this SCV spread. That's cute.
Well, I mean, this is actually starting to do damage now, as he did kill a few of those tanks.
Yeah, a little bit of damage. I mean, yeah, Hack still hasn't got to the stage where he can kind of make any sort of bank, but he's almost maxed up. And we do see 4 tanks at a time now.
And Hydra does have a massive bank, and this is just the beginning. I mean, he's got a lot more he can use later as well. PDD's energy getting sapped in like no time there against all those locusts. He needs a little bit more, you know, energy. He needs a little bit more Ravens over there.
And it's kind of interesting we're seeing Ultralists being made. This can work if there's the Blinding Clouds are good, but I mean it's still kind of Ultralists don't last very long against mech otherwise. We do see Queens, but I mean the pretty much like the damage is just so instant that Ultras can go down in like one volley essentially. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that's going to go down and exactly when Hack is going to move out because he is maxed out essentially.
I like Hydra taking this base over here. Like, even though it's within Hack's range, like, especially that gas, as our observer was showing, he's going to try to, you know, get as many minerals and gas maybe from the right side as possible so that Hack, in the later stages of the game, won't be able to take that. And he's going to want to get his bank as high as possible because I think we're going to be here for a while. I mean, both these players are going to have a hard time killing each other.
Yeah. 6 more CCs on the way. A lot of those will become planetaries. A lot of them will become orbitals. Scans, mules, whatever he wants, whatever he needs at the time. Tons of spores all over the map too, going to make it harder to actually move across and finish it once it becomes to that point. If he actually, you know, ends up playing the reality style where it's like, okay, I'm moving across, I can maybe kill the last tier buildings. This map doesn't really function the same way that the last map that this happened on was. Was that Star Station? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Star Station where they went around in a
circle.
circle.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
You can't quite do that on this map, so I think the game will eventually end. I don't think we're going to have a stalemate here. But so a lot of PDDs being queued up here, and down they go. Locusts are not able to burst through, and honestly, the Ultras are not actually getting through. Finally, they do. A few more Thors coming up here. This actually is not quite enough, though, I don't think, with the Banshees in the air. This is going to get pushed back. He will have to rebuild the planetary and all that infrastructure, but I think that was pretty okay for reality. Sorry, for Hack.
For Hack, he did well.
I'm
I
on
feel
the
like,
mind of reality right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he could have pulled those tanks back that got blinding clouded instantly because they serve no real purpose there except just die.
Yeah, it was almost like you thought like that the planter was going to hold long enough to where like the blinding cloud just wear off or something.
I mean, he did take some losses, but still wasn't that much. He almost back at max now.
Yeah, his gas bank is not as important as his mineral bank. I mean, his mineral bank is not as important as his gas bank.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just invested in so many CCs. Like he's obviously very rich in minerals and will be very soon.
You know, but he mines minerals really fast because of the mules, but he doesn't have infinity minerals too. I think he may have made too many command centers. I'm not even joking. Like, I think he actually made too many command centers.
Yeah. Very impressive how many he made.
Now, I mean, what this could be used for later is like dropping mules at your opponent's base, actually and stealing his money. But
and it's good for scans, I guess, to keep a good eye on where the Zerg is. But I would have to agree with you. It is dumping a gigantic amount of minerals into something that, you know, say 20 minutes later in the game is not going to be too useful.
Yeah. So, well, I guess we're just going to have to sit tight a little bit longer, guys. This is the kind of game that a lot of people really like to watch, and I do too. Like, so kind
of one thing I want to note though is that, like, even though, oh, never mind. Hold on
a second.
Blinding
clouds down here on the whole left side, the right side. Not really any siege tanks over there. The Banshees are the big problem, actually. I would argue here because there's no. The Queens are not quite able to get through, and the ones that do get through are being PDD'd.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, there's no real there's not really that many units to really deal with the Banshees. I feel like there could be a lot more, whether it be like Corruptors or, I don't know, like even Infestors or something, because the Queens aren't going to do that much, especially against 3-3 Banshees.
I think he's worried about all the turrets, though, with the idea of going Corruptors. This time he doesn't have any turrets over on this location, but the other locations are full up with turrets.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's
even
a hard decision for sure.
Maybe even like being really careful with Vipers and like pulling Vikings and pulling Banshees into the fray could be helpful. I think he's intentionally not killing these. Okay, now he's in game.
Hydra just made 21 Corruptors. He was sitting at like 150 supply trying to decide what to make, and he went with the Corruptors.
This is like the hardest thing. I mean, against fighting this kind of mech, it's like, what do I make that's actually going to work against this? Because he's in such a good position, and he's pretty much just going to wait until everything's mined out and then make this army that you just won't be able to beat.
Yeah, the thing about the Corruptors here, too, is there's already a lot of Vikings, Ravens for PDDs, Seeker Missile, what have you.
Yeah.
Planter's going to lift here for a second, so it can't be targeted, and he's going to land it and put it down again. The tanks are in position. It's a lot of Corruptors, but will it be enough? I mean, Brewlords are really not going to be the answer here, I don't think.
It looks like Hack's actually going to start to push out now. He wants to get that next base.
Drones coming to fight, they
Drones
get blown up immediately. Some of these swarm hosts repositioning over here at the base. Like you said, he is scanning a ton here. He wants to know exactly where the Zerg army is and if he can move out. He's slowly doing it, this super slow push with the tanks coming down the ramp. And all the PDDs.
They solve all the problems. And when you got this many Ravens, like, you can do it forever, essentially. And you're never going to have to worry too much about the swarm hosts at this point.
That's true. You can pretty much ignore any projectiles. Temporarily.
Oh, here we go.
Auto turrets on the ground, too, actually, to help tank, I suppose, do some damage. I mean, they do actually do a lot of damage. Blinding Clouds here are decent. There's a lot of Corruptors here, though. Is he going to Seeker Missile some of those? The thing is, they're on top of his tanks, so if he does, he actually takes the damage on his tanks as well.
Cloak goes down. Does he have an Overseer in position? I think he has maybe some Spores in position, but now he's going to back off, and he's just sniping those. He's sniping those Ravens out. And he's just sacrificing these Corruptors. He's doing this on purpose. He's making more and more Corruptors and Vipers here as well. All these Ravens going to go down.
Yeah, I think the issue with the Seeker Missile is like he can't do it over the top of his siege tanks. There's too much friendly fire there.
He just lost so much gas in that. I mean, there's still this Banshee force to deal with, but he just killed all the Ravens. He's making 4 at a time now.
Yeah, killed all the Ravens. Killed a decent amount of other units as well. This base does go down. For a few of the Banshees, that's more gas lost and more Tech Lab starport time if you want to replace those. 29 Corruptors here. Still a lot of siege tanks on the map, though, but if he controls the sky, then maybe someday he could eventually get Brewlords out if he's able to identify that Hack doesn't have the bank to continue to produce Vikings.
But, I mean, look at the mineral income for Hack, which is going to be the biggest problem now. He's spent so many minerals. I think he's almost spent every mineral. And he can't just remax it like he used to, for sure. And
he needs to drop mules at this base, actually, that's right in front of him, I think. You know,
oh, very nice.
There are the Seeker Missiles finally here.
And they're going to do so much.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what he needed.
Yep. Didn't hit very many of his siege tanks either.
Yeah, he was not paying attention to those corruptors, and they just took so much damage.
This is such a great game here. Greater Spire is nearly completed. He did take air control, but I don't think it's time for Broodlords just yet. There's still you know, a lot of Raven support here and more joining, plus more Vikings.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the Raven count at this point and how much energy they have. More than anything else, yeah. I mean, it's good that he got rid of every single Viking though. This could actually clear the ground army.
Do you think this will work? I mean, is this enough?
Looking at what he has, we don't exactly know how much energy is on those Ravens, but I mean, if they're spread out enough...
They're relatively new as well, because he had to remake all of them.
So I actually think this is a pretty great move. Simply no Vikings in production whatsoever.
He's also bringing Spores to help protect. Just slowly moving those forward.
Hack has done a decent job clearing some of that creep at the bottom of the ramp, but still he's got a long way to go. And like you mentioned, Hydra's just able to use that creep.
Hack has no bank.
He has no bank.
He needs to be actually dropping mules at this base.
But I mean, neither does Hydra at this point. If he can get rid of these Broodlords, he's going to be in a really good position. But getting rid of them is the hardest thing.
Well, let's find out if he can do it. They're pretty stacked up right now, in fact. He's not split them at all. And here come the Ravens! Seeker Missile City over here! Oh my god!
He did not. He could have ran away from them, but he didn't.
He didn't run, he didn't split, he panicked.
Wow.
You were talking about dealing with the Broodlords. I think that did it.
That did it.
He's gone down to 3.
Oh my god. That was exactly what he needed to get ahead in this. And look at the supply difference. He's up 40 supply now.
And the richest base.
Yeah.
This richest base is actually now his.
He's going to make so much money from this too. The amount of command centers he has, the amount of orbitals, so many mules going to come down.
Infestor's on the way now for Hydra. You know, Hydra actually, let's be honest, we haven't even talked about this yet, this game. I think it's really important to note. Hydra not known for his late game. He's more known for his timing attacks, his mid-game aggression at the latest. Very rarely goes to Hive, and I mean, maybe that's why Hack chose a strategy for this map, because he's like, I don't know if you know how to deal with this.
Well, I feel like his micro of this giant army just has not been up to par. Like, losing those Broodlords like that, they could have been spread out a lot more. He would have taken a lot less damage, and man, look how many Vikings that there are now. That's enough to actually fight that army.
Yeah. And this Banshee Forest is looking for blood. He's trying to go in and try to get those tech structures. Has to be careful. If there was an Overseer with that army of Corruptors, those Banshees would have been dead.
There's one nearby. See if he can save this base. No Queens or Transfuse. Base is going to go down. It's only mineral mining right now, but still. We'll lose the Banshees for it.
I'm not sure if that was a good move.
I don't think so.
I mean, there are a lot of Infestors coming out, which could also change the game if everything is clumped up, especially the Ravens.
Yeah, imagine if he had just 3 or 4 Fungals on that fight with the Broodlords and pulled the Broodlords back, you know, if they're split a little bit. So there goes the end of the Banshees. That's the end of their story.
Well, like, the Seeker missiles were kind of cast at maximum range, so I mean, if the Broodlords move back the moment they're cast, I'm pretty sure they will get out of range. But he wasn't paying attention to the point where he needed to save them.
Look at this air army right now for Hack. He's got like 19 Vikings, 12 Ravens, and if that whole army or a big chunk of it gets fungled and he can link those, it's going to be really hard with a lot of those tanks on the ground. But if he can possibly do that, he can regain that air control. Look at the bank of Hack. He's barely mining minerals. He has to get that base. He's finally dropped that CC.
Yeah, it's finally landed. Let's see if he can hold on to it. There's a lot of PDDs to protect it right now. And more PDDs being dropped.
And look how clumped his air is. He's got to be so careful of fungals, but he just doesn't know they're on the map. He doesn't know the Infestors are there, and here they come.
He knows. He sees them with a scan. Needs to pull back here. Splits here are okay. Fungals going down, but also the Seeker missiles, the Infestors not running away. A lot of decent splash damage to the Corruptors as well. Another Fungal there is excellent, but he's not able to chain it.
And that could have been the nail in the coffin. He couldn't get anything done. There's still the majority of the air is there.
Look at all those mules that just dropped at that base. After he held off that attack, he's like, okay, I'm safe to do this. And his minerals are going to spike. Look at that.
That's insane. This is exactly what he needed. He finally fought for it, and he got it.
19 mules. At that one base, they're all there.
Consider, though, guys, as well, he's also now out of gas. So the mules will be helping a lot, but he's mostly out of gas mining on the rest of the map. So, I mean, he's, for a while here, going to just be set to make only, mineral units. That's why he's switching back into Hellions, it looks like here. 7 at a time. Going to be a little bit of a buffer here. I guess he's okay to spend these minerals like this. because he knows that Hydra must also be starving as well.
Like, Hydra is mineral starved right now. He's got so much gas, but no minerals to really make anything with it. So he's going to really have to make something happen very, very soon. And it looks like he's seeing some Vipers. They're trying. They're trying.
Not happening. He loses a few of them.
Zerglings, that's desperation right there.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're getting in.
They are getting in a few of them. Hellbot's on the back, though, helping out a lot.
Oh, Infest is taking some hits, too.
Oh, he sees opportunities, but he's like, oh, there's too many PDDs. It's so hard to tell, actually, which ones have energy and which ones don't, too, without looking very closely.
Yeah. And there comes the Mule Wave again. And look at how many minerals he has now.
He's
Just
got,
insane.
like, I mean, that base has been mined out in, like, almost no time, right?
Yeah. Very, very nice.
Now he has gotten those 2 gases up, so that's going to be pretty helpful. I mean, it's only 1 base of gas, it looks like. Maybe like 1.5, but still.
And we see 5 more Infestors come onto the map, being made now. Tanks and Hellions being made.
I really worry for Hydra. I don't know if there's an answer for this anymore with what he has.
When there's Swarm Host, there's a way. If they trade effectively for long enough, he could come back, and we see a couple of Broodlords picking away at the empty gold.
Well, you know, Wolf said maybe this isn't the map to have another Reality versus Sulky game, but we are up to 41 minutes. If we want to get that kind of length, we'll have to go like another hour and 20 minutes. So stick tight.
Yeah, sit tight.
The thing is, these Ravens are key. With the Ravens, the Swarmless will never win the fight as long as he constantly PDDs. Yep. Also, the Siege Tanks as well. Now, if he loses the Ravens by carelessness, flying too close to Banshees or the Corruptors, then that could actually be the way that Hydra gets back into this game, I feel.
Yeah, if he gets key Fungals onto the Raven and Vikings, he can definitely make this a comeback for sure. Or definitely take the win at the very least.
That Siege Tank is...
That Siege Tank is just...
That's like a really big change, I guess. I don't know.
He's just checking things out. He's like, oh, crap.
He's like, I guess I'll drive around this pillar really quick.
Yeah. I don't know why that happened.
I don't know why he killed his own turret there either, but
pretty questionable.
Stranger things have happened. Yeah. I guess he wants to get his tanks a little bit more forward, looks like.
Yeah, yeah. He definitely needs to creep forward and kind of start pushing out these Swarmos, but it is kind of hard with the creep at your face like this.
God, this is so terrifying to have all these Ravens so close together like this.
Yeah, I actually, it's like giving me anxiety.
Yeah, man, it's like freaking me out. I'm like, stop that. Get those split, man.
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
15 Ravens. There are 9 Infestors on the map.
Definitely enough to kill them.
21 Vikings versus 28 Corruptors. I believe both units are... I mean, I know the Corruptors are at 3-3, but I'm not sure about the mech armor, actually. I think it's at 3.
I feel like it definitely
has to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, we just haven't seen a click on in a while, so I don't want to give misinformation.
They unburrow. He's trying to get the fungal.
Gets the SCVs.
I guess that's something.
I mean, actually, he wants those at this point.
It's
They're like
energy,
trying to save each other.
It's energy for units. It's exactly what you want to be trading with both Infestors and Ravens at this point.
He does have the +3 armor now. It's confirmed, by the way. I just wanted to make sure of that.
Yeah.
Would have been crazy if he didn't. Here we go. PED is going down again, and he's dodging the Seeker missiles.
Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, so close. He stopped them. He stopped the Corruptors like a short way away. I
like
thought
literally like a
range.
centimeter away from like where they were.
If they were like
range,
a bit closer, he could have lost them all. Like, got to be very careful.
Well, guys, it's Monday.
It's Monday, guys. It's the big day.
Yes, you're right.
Just to remind you guys.
This is the first game of the first match before Telecom Wars even comes into existence.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even there, so.
Sit tight.
Mondays, man. It's the best
so
day
true.
of Pro League.
It is.
Always.
We see tanks creeping forward. Finally got that tower, which is very important. Sees everything. Sees where these foremost are coming from. Sees where the Infestors are coming from.
Infestors especially. It's going to be so important not to get fungled.
Yeah. And almost getting pushed back a little bit. Kind of surprised we haven't seen any Seeker missiles onto the
That's a bit of a scary spot right now. He burrows and the Seeker missiles are trying to come in, but they don't connect.
Just out of range.
Oh, man. Those fungals are close. He gets one Raven locked down a second time. Loses a siege tank here. Auto turret gets queued.
Oh, my God. Look at all those PDDs, man. Yeah. Like, not a single Corruptor shot is getting through.
And I mean, not a single Seeker missile got through either, so he's got to be very careful with his energy. He doesn't want to like spend all of it. That's going to give Hydra like a window to really do some damage, especially with these swarm hosts.
Oh my God.
Oh, 2 down.
Also,
you can't lose anything.
No, you can't.
I'm so terrified every time the Ravens get close, that clumped up like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, at the very least, if they get fungal, they're going to drop, like, a ton of secret missiles as defense, or as a reaction. So,
Right.
like, everything's going to have to run, essentially, or the infestors are just going to have to die.
Well, we're seeing Hydra right now. He is not mining gas.
He's making only queens,
Yeah.
which is not a bad choice, I feel.
No, it's probably the best choice at this point when you have nothing but minerals.
Oh, he's in such a scary spot. He's slowly backing off, The scans are going down over and over again, and Hack's just getting more and more confident. He's moving his tanks forward, and I don't know what choice Hydra has except to wait for a really good fungal, but Hack's been on top of it so far.
He's just pretty much got to wait for a mistake here. Either an overcommittal or a waste of energy on those Ravens that's going to give him an opening to do more damage.
And that's the worst feeling. It's like you want to do something proactive, but you just have to wait for your opponent to make a mistake.
It's the feeling of hopelessness.
It's the feeling of neck TVZ like this.
Yeah, it's the feeling of this is what happens when you split the map in half.
Always the double scan every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's got so many CCs, he has to. Like,
That's it, by the way,
Unlimited.
for Mineral Bank, right? I think that's the last patch on the map.
I'm actually surprised we don't see mules on that mineral patch.
That's what that was exactly what I was about to say. You and I are on the same page here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you might as well scan and drop mules.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't do that way earlier with all the overalls he made.
I mean, these scans are very important too.
Oh, he's starting to lose more
Oh!
souls. The bastards!
Two of them
down.
Oh,
That's almost like game ending.
that's a lot of damage in the
Telesormo's getting caught in the locust. One goes down as well.
See, you got to be careful.
GG. He just GG's
gives
out.
Hack! My prediction
Moonblade was right.
Yes! I feel good.
Everyone's giving you a thumbs up with the Korean caster desk, man.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
If you go on camera again, I want you to stand up and give a bow, Moonblade.
Yeah. I might have to.
That was definitely a very awesome match that we got to see there. And incredible miracle. Very happy with this.
What a way to start the day, man.
What a
Monday
great
night Pro League, man. Make sure you're here every day. 6:30. We'll be here.
Yeah, every Monday, man. Every day of Pro League in general, but I mean, like, every day.
Rune looks in shock. He's like, "Whoa, how'd you do that? That was so
I
crazy."
can't believe you beat him, man. It's like, well, Moonblade voted for me, man. How could I lose?
You can't disappoint Moonblade.
No.
Well, Hydra, weak in late game, strong in the mid game, made a lot of big micro mistakes and some questionable decisions with his bank.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to that stage, like, it's very hard for Zerg unless they have a massive advantage and they find really good trades. And he kind of just got whittled out. Like, he just didn't really have anything going for him. He eventually gave up that base, and Hack could take his 6th base, which is essentially completes the half of his map, get the gas and minerals he needed, and from there he just made enough tanks to kind of deal with the swarm host and trade very efficiently.
Really have to hand it to Hack. That was the build to do against Hydra. I feel like he had an idea in mind of what to do against Hydra, and that was it. You just got to bring it to late game, play that TVZ max style, and he did it pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well played. Very impressed with Hack. Yeah,
Well, that
seen him
means
in a while.
that we're going to see that 4th game unless IM gets a 3-0. So,
Well,